We recording? All right. What's up, guys? Another crypto call here. Thanks for coming, everybody. Today, as you all know, we're gonna be going over Cardano. So, first things first, Cardano is they are blockchain 3.0. So their entire strategy, their entire mission of Cardano is improving on what have been the limitations of the blockchain before. That's the entire premise of blockchain 3.0. So they want to take the problems that blockchain's seen thus far and essentially address those problems and make a better blockchain based off of existing current projects in the space. So their other main asset to their name is they're involved on a scientific philosophy and a research-driven approach, peer-to-peer review protocol. So in this sense, a lot of the people involved in this project are engineers, scientists, and the entire way which things are developed in this protocol and this project is through peer-reviewed protocol. So pretty much everything that's been established on this network has been approved through academic settings of writing a proposal, being voted on, and yeah, that leads me right into their network mechanics. They run on the technology called Ouroboros, which is a delegated proof of stake. This project came out in October of this last year is when their first mainnet fully launched. It had been in development for 2 years before that. I'm going to go ahead and actually do this one a little backwards and talk about the team first. I'm going to do it backwards in sense of order, but Charles Hoskinson was the co-founder and former CEO of Ethereum. He is the one who decided to head up this project. This project is very tech heavy. It is, like I said, the blockchain 3.0. So a lot of the things that this project is going to do are addressing those issues that the blockchains had before. So yeah, back to the founder, Charles Hoskinson, former CEO and co-founder of Ethereum. He partnered with Cardano in 2015 to create this platform. It has been in development for about 15 months before it came out in September. Their initial ICO of this coin was for also about 15 months. And then in January 2017, 95% of this was to Japanese industry. This is targeted towards the Japanese market. I don't believe U.S. citizens were allowed to participate in this ICO. So back to like who is behind this project. It's made up of 3 distinct companies with different roles. The first being the Cardano Foundation, which is the nonprofit part of this project. This is a Swiss-based company. They oversee the Cardano ecosystem in the community. This is also the company which aims to work with regulators and governments to ensure like compliancy. We'll get more into that, how the tech works about that later. And this is also just like the general brand of this crypto to help establish partnerships. That's what this company does, part of it. The next company that's involved is IOHK. That's Input Output Hong Kong. That is the tech. So their goal is peer-to-peer financial innovations for providing financial services to people who don't have access to that. So this is a very general call to action, so to say. A lot of cryptocurrencies have this idea of bringing the services to people that don't have financial services. And the last company that's a part of this project is Emergo. They're a VC company, venture capitalist. Their goal is to invest in startups and look for projects that are going to help build the Cardano blockchain. They want to look for projects to get onto the Cardano blockchain. Back to the basics of what Cardano is. This is a smart contract platform. This is a 3.0 version of the blockchain, as I said before, like in a sense that it's been released way later than Ethereum. It's seen what Ethereum has done and seen what Bitcoin has done, and it wants to take those ideas and improve upon them. So their first major improvement is their consensus protocol, which is delegated proof of stake. This went through a process of getting academic reviewed, and their academic paper was reviewed and accepted at an academic convention. They also have a formal security proof that was approved in the same way. So everything they're doing here is being it's been scrutinized heavily, and they're doing this in a very slow, organic way of science, building a consensus, getting it reviewed and approved before they do anything. This is how this project is built. So their proof of stake model. So three problems, okay, getting into the problems that they solve with blockchain 3.0. The three problems that most blockchains have nowadays is scaling, sustainability, and interoperability. And Cardano is going to solve all of this. So with scalability, you have three things that are aspects of like why blockchains can't scale. They're transactions per second, and in a proof of work system like Bitcoin's, this is hindered because everyone can mine a block in proof of work, and proof of stake doesn't let everyone mine. So there's less computing power going into people competing for these blocks, like proof of work, proof of stake. The validators are pre-selected, and they're in the Cardano system. They are elected leaders. So how this works is the people who are elected to mine blocks are called slot leaders, and then the time of these blockchain transactions to be verified are managed on this big long timeline, and they call these timeline epochs. And the epochs are then divided into the slots, and there's individual slots for individual blocks to be written. And so to become a validator, you have to be voted on this, like elected by the system, become a validator of a block. And as you become that, you become a slot leader. And so all these slot leaders are assigned a slot of a block to validate, and that's how the network works. These epochs, these timelines of slots of blocks to be verified are all, you can have epochs within epochs, and you can also have parallel epochs. So the scalability is vertically and horizontally scalable. So let's say one of these validators doesn't mine the block that they're scheduled to at their time, because they're the only one can mine it at that slot. That's why they're a slot leader. If they don't do that, they are no longer able to mine blocks and must be re-elected to be a slot leader. So that's how the consensus protocol works. And that's how they effectively combat the scaling issue of blockchains so far. That's their solution to that problem. Sustainability, and I should go to interoperability first. So next thing I have to do, next problem a lot of blockchains are having and what Cardano wants to do to fix it has to deal with interoperability. So as you know, there's a lot of cryptocurrencies out there right now. I believe over 1,500 in the world right now. So Cardano has the stance that there's going to be not just one sole cryptocurrency that exists in 5-10 years when all of these are fully implemented and we are using these day to day. Cardano believes that there's going to be many blockchains, and they have understood that. So they want to be the internet of the blockchain, in the sense that they're going to be able to understand what happens with other blockchains, and they want to be able to move assets across blockchains without using a third party. So as it stands today, if I want to swap my Bitcoin for Cardano, I would have to use Binance or another exchange that allows me to facilitate such a transaction. Cardano wants to build an interoperability part of their network. That's one of the core features of it, is to be able to switch those assets between any of the chains. And they do that through KMZ sidechain protocol. Also, another thing with interoperability, as we know, a lot of governments and banks are shying away from cryptos at this point. That's because most cryptos don't adhere to normal banking laws. They don't, and a lot of these banks and companies don't like cryptos because there's no metadata. They don't know who is sending this transaction. They don't know why they're sending this transaction. And this is how a lot of these companies operate. They like to know who, when, and why, and how. So what Cardano has done for possible interoperability with these institutions like banks and governments, they've added a possibility for that metadata to be available at the customer's approval. So you'd have to verify if you want this information to be known. But in a sense, that's sort of meeting in a middle ground with these governments and banks and allowing possibly for these transactions to have those kind of data attached to them, so these banks would be willing to make use of this. This is more for like compliance, money laundering, issues like that. So This is another a layer they've added to possibly have that sort of cooperativeness with government and banking regulations. Next thing that they have addressed in the crypto space, initially in the crypto space that they have addressed, is sustainability. So a lot of these ICOs today they get funding, but through an ICO. They offer a coin, they have a white paper, they write the idea that they're promising or promoting on their tech, what they aim to solve, and then they launch a coin. The coin is bought for however long, whatever their ICO issuance is, and once they've sold that coin, effectively ended that sale, that is the money they have to work to grow and develop this network. So what happens when all the money is run up? Was it like the platform going to be around? Is there money to sustain this development? What happens to that tech that's been developed with this? So what Cardano wants to do is they're going to ensure a treasury. So what this treasury would be doing is this is a special wallet that can release funds to developers who want to improve the protocol. The developers must submit a proposal to do a change on how much they need for it, and then the community votes on these proposals. The Treasury would then give the developments funds, and this continues the research and funding needed for development of this project. I just want to say these kind of things are very ambitious, especially the government compliance. All these issues they're seeking to tackle are the biggest issues in the space. What I also would say is Cardano has this approach of they're taking what other companies have done successfully well, or maybe not so successfully, and they are taking them and going them all in-house. Everything they build is through peer-reviewed protocol. There's nothing they build that will just copy and paste. Everything needs to be approved in the most academic and science-driven approach that we know yet today. Cardano is pretty young. They have a different approach to solving these problems, as I just mentioned. So the future is bright for this project. However, we are still, as we said, in the newer parts of this project. It's only been around for about 5-6 months now. So a lot of these things that they're promising to do seem great, and they have very big, high scope of things that they want to try to accomplish with this project. If they can do so, we're looking at a major powerhouse. This could be one of the biggest blockchains out there. This could regulate something. This could essentially make something like Ethereum maybe useless. They could do the same things Ethereum does, but better, with improving upon all these issues. So another thing I want to talk about is what's Ethereum looking, or not Ethereum? What's Cardano looking like for the future here? So as right now, we can go into their roadmap. Right now, they've implemented Byron. So Byron is the culmination of those 2 years of research and what they've had at this point. This is their main net, so the cryptocurrency is live. Basically, they have a wallet at this point and a live token. So this is what we see has been launched. Exchange enhancements. Okay, so this is what we're getting into. At this point, Shelly is the next step for Cardano. Shelly is to be released in Q2, Q3 this year. And what Shelly is going to do is start to launch the true decentralized governance of this crypto. At this point, our Cardano network is centralized with it's called the bootstrap arrow. They're doing so just to verify everything they have tested works, and sort of a trial sort of issue right now. Consensus is locked to private control until Shelly mainnet implementation. So when Shelly is launched, this would be the fully decentralization of the nodes. Right now, the nodes and the validators, the slot leaders, as I was talking about before, those are predetermined at this point, and that is how the network is centralized. So once Shelly is launched, this will become fully decentralized. So what Shelly completely entails, we can dive into right now. Open or robust delegation. Like I said, this would be the open elections for this, the node validators to stake. Multi-signature transactions. This is something to do with security, wallet banking, consensus incentives, quantum resistant signatures. more things with Ethereum. So as you can see, there are many tasks that come within implementing this Shelly to the full decentralization of this project. But that is definitely what to look for Cardano in the coming future. As I said, Q2 and Q3 of this year, you might see this project being these parts of the project being rolled out, implemented, so to say. So yeah, just some good Cardano sources if you guys want to follow this project. This is Charles Hoskinson, the former CEO and co-founder of Ethereum, guy who now runs Cardano. This is his Twitter page. He is a pretty prominent figure in this community. Silly guy. Yeah, no. Yeah, here's his Twitter page. I like to follow a lot of these projects on Twitter, Reddit. So to say, here's the Cardano Reddit page. You want to go on there. These are places where you will be plugged in with these projects, where you'll find fundamental news that comes out, keep you updated on what's going on. You will have to sift through people talking about the price, when's it gonna move, and those kind of things. I didn't know that. I would have to look at that. Apparently, Vitalik Buterin was on Vice. That sounds interesting. But yeah, that's Charles Hoskinson's Twitter page. Cardano's Twitter page is right here. Another good. This is like you see, updates for the project coming out. Their roadmap is on their main website, which is here, which I do have linked in the crypto catalog. And yeah, that's about it. I don't have much. There's not the news coming out of Cardano is pretty quiet at this point. This is a very big project with big scope on things they want to do with this project. So it's very interesting to keep track of this project, keeping in track of Shelly, how that's being implemented. Because like I said before, if this project succeeds in what it wants to do, it's essentially going to take a lot of these other developer protocols and combine all of the functionalities of them into one. You want to have interoperability. They're going to be able to scale, and it's going to be a smart contract network built to last, built to run. The promises, this project is extremely promising in my eyes. And yeah, do you guys have any questions about this? Anything I can explain more? Things you want to dive into deeper within this network? One thing else I wanted to mention, I didn't really get into about how the network works. This is more to do with security of it and just probably the applicability of it. So just another quick comparison to Ethereum. Ethereum's network, their smart contract platform is written in Haskell. In order to write a smart contract platform on there, or a smart contract, you have to know this language. ADA is currently available for more than just Haskell. It's approved language. Their actual network is built on two separate layers. The settlement layer is counting, and the computational. So the first one is the money stores, the accounting system of it, and the second layer is why or how they are stored on it. So it's by separating that. Where's my note? Essentially, by separating those networks, you make the smart contract platform flexible, more intuitive, more easy to use for the average person. You're not worrying about payments. Let's say you're more worrying about the actual code of the execution of smart contracts for that. And the settlement layer, there's basically improvement upon Bitcoin's purely settlement layer. So the idea is selling those two layers on the network, allowing for it to be a lot more robust. Yeah, that was the final random note on the network mechanics and protocol. Overall, I really like this project. We can take a look at the chart here where we're seeing. This chart looks pretty similar to a lot of the other charts we're seeing in the crypto world right now. Maybe a little smaller though, because it's only been out since this graph says November, so it must have been launched in October. So we have pretty much a full retracement. We ICO'd at roughly 7 cents on the first day, and we're at 28. So we're 4x still the initial coin offering. My analysis is pretty similar to most crypto coins. We've pretty much retrace the full, as we can see here. Almost entire retracement of this coin. So right now we're in accumulation, I believe. We're seeing a lot of strong support here after the price peaked out at $1.40 from TradingView. This is with Binance. As you see, 20 cents here has been very strong support, and then it broke and served to be a little bit of resistance, and we're still sitting right there now in this 20 to 30 cent range here. So 30 cents seems to be a very key level, probably the keyest level on this chart. So yeah, my stance on these projects is pretty much similar to my stance on the crypto market in whole. I always say if you're looking to invest, there's never a bad time to buy, because investing is investing for the long-term future. If you believe in this project and you believe in the crypto space as a whole, putting market money down is never a bad option. Can you time those entries better than others? Yes, of course. You can. If you've been watching the market now for 6 months and you've sat on the sidelines and haven't invested yet, well, that's great for you, because now that we're at all-time lows, But you don't really start to actually watch and feel these markets, I truly believe, until you have money in them. It's so easy to say hindsight bias, like, oh, glad I didn't invest back in December or January when the project was at its all-time high. At the same time, if you would have invested, you'd be watching it now, you'd be managing it, you've understood that kind of thing, that you don't buy at the highs, and understanding how to identify those kind of FOMO rushes and not how to avoid them. And again, you wouldn't have invested, you may not have learned those lessons. Hindsight is not the greatest teacher. So as I'm seeing now with this market is we've experienced quite a decent bull run in the last week or so, especially after Bitcoin's jump from 6K to 7 all the way up to almost 8, and then from 8 to 9 in the last pretty much the last 2 weeks here. We've seen a lot of people throwing money back into the market. However, I am bearish on the market. That is not to say I'm bearish on every single coin, but on things like Bitcoin, which still does drive the market, I think we are going to see some choppy movement for the coming weeks here, and I still am looking for downside targets of 5 to 4K. In terms of these other projects, I'm looking for them to start to gain dominance over Bitcoin. I'm looking for Cardano, especially Ethereum too. Ethereum's had a nice little breakout of support right here at 600 or resistance. But I'm glad to see, I would love to see projects like Cardano, Ethereum start to take more of the market share back from Bitcoin, establishing a general, fair market for all of these other crypto projects. Bitcoin is the longest and oldest standing crypto, and is pretty much the basis for this market. Their concepts of which they developed have stood the test of time, but as we were talking about with this project, there are sizable issues for cryptos in general to overcome before they can be adapted by the whole. I think Cardano is one of these great projects in the sense that it really attempts to solve these problems with viable and understandable approaches. The technology they're trying to implement is techy, yes, and it takes a certain level to understand it, but at the same time, it makes sense. How they're going about developing it through peer-reviewed protocol, through the scientific and research-driven approach, is solid to me. This project is definitely a long-term play. You're not looking to buy in and hope you see it go back to the Cardano chart. Could this be pumped? Definitely could. Could we see this go up to 60 cents, come back down? Yes, we definitely could. As is probably the next level of support I see right here. Biggest major level. But at the same time, this is a project which the true value of it won't be known for quite a while. Things to look for, like I said again, Shelly, keep an eye out on that. Keep an eye out on their Twitter and their Reddit. This is one of my favorite projects as a whole in the crypto play, in the crypto space. I think this is a great long-term play for investors, but always do your own research. This isn't financial advice. I'm just a guy talking about cryptos. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for you. Thanks for everyone for coming. I'll give a quick 10 seconds here if anyone wants to ask a question while I'm still rambling. And if not, thanks everybody for coming. Look forward to you guys seeing next week. I'm going to post a poll in Discord for what coin you want me to cover next week. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.